All right, I got a chance to see Rebel Moon. Let's find out my thoughts right now. All right, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year coming up. Happy holidays to everyone. We're in New Year or Christmas Eve at this point. And whatever day of Hanukkah it is, might be over. I haven't checked. But Rebel Moon just got released by Zack Snider, the lovely, the majorly talented Zack Snider, depending on who you talk to. But I am your host, Frank Zanka. I am an award-winning screenwriter, a novelist, and a comic book writer, as well as a working line producer, and I recently moved to Atlanta from Los Angeles. So if you've watched any of my videos at all, you know that sci-fi is kind of my thing. I just released a pilot that we did a showing at Comic-Con last year for Nichelle Nichols' final performance. She played the original Uhura on Star Trek. It was called Renegades Amanara. I will put the link below if you want to check out the trailer and stuff like that. But we're winning a bunch of awards, and it is a sci-fi. And I did like an homage to her life. So we have an interracial kiss, and she was part of the part of helping NASA get some minorities in for recruiting. So I did, of course, a space travel in it and things like that. And then we also did almost like the, which you can kind of see behind me, the mirror type of look. So it's all that. And you know that I also have a 4-novel series called Destiny Aurora that was made into a board game and an RPG. And then here's the graphic novel as well. And it's like 150 pages. So sci-fi is my thing. So I've worked on Star Trek Renegades. I produced that. So I know a lot of the Star Trek people, actors and celebs. So I make, and Star Wars, as also, you can't see it behind me, but there's a whole Star Wars thing up there, shelf up there. You can see the black hole figures behind me as well. So, and of course I have my Flibby plushie, which is from my stuff. But anyway, so I do a lot in the sci-fi genre, and Star Wars was what made me want to get into film to begin with. So anything that's kind of sci-fi, I give that thing a chance, and everybody's like, "This is going to be Zack Snyder's Star Wars," and I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I was a fan of Zack Snyder originally. So like when he did 300, loved 300. And when he did, and everybody's going to laugh at this one, but when he did Sucker Punch, I absolutely love Sucker Punch. Everybody hates Sucker Punch, and I love it. And then he also did Watchmen, and I thought he did a decent job with Watchmen. So we got three for three. He hasn't really done much outside of those three at that point. And then he got pulled into the DC universe. And he just did not understand the DC characters. He just didn't understand them. And he tried to make everything like Watchmen. He doesn't understand characters that don't kill. He didn't get it. So when he was doing the Justice League, he actually gave, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but so Batman normally has little, if he needs ultraviolet or if he needs to see at night, like little shutters will come down in the cowl. But no, he actually gave Batman, the Owl Man from Watchmen, his glasses. I mean, they're exact. He just took them out of the prop department and gave them to Batman. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I don't know if everybody's even noticed that. So I was not a fan of anything that he did in the Justice League universe, DC universe. I was a fan of nothing that he directed. Nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, he just went downhill. To the point where everybody hates Justice League or whatever you want to call it. Everybody hates that. But I was so happy when he was pulled out of that universe, and we're still feeling the repercussions of that, today. So when it was told that we were going to get a sci-fi from him and that he was going to do it, then I start seeing all of the reviews come out. And I'm like, oh man, I was right. Because the guy cannot write. Once you put him in there as a writer and a creator, you're already going downhill. And his directing style has already been played out now. And all we're getting is a trope of his directing style and his writing style in this movie. So this is supposed to be the first one, and then he's like, I'm going to have my director's cut that's going to be 12 hours long. What you're seeing now is nothing compared to what I'm going to put you through later. I have my fans. My fans will rally around me like the god that I am. This guy's hubris is through the roof, man. Everybody else thinks of him here. He thinks of himself up here. I mean, the guy has such an opinion of himself, it's phenomenal. So anyway, you have two writers on this thing outside of him. So three including him. You have Kurt Johnstad and you have Shay Hatton. Together, they also wrote 300. Well, one of them wrote 300. Then the second 300, Atomic Blonde. The other guy wrote John Wick, the last two John Wick movies. So these guys can write, and they write stuff that sells. So all I can think about is the fact that he told them what to write. That he had this idea, and he directed their writing to the point where the writing was horrible. I mean, everybody was making fun of the Aquaman script. Oh my God, this script is like a 10th grader. That's why I was so shocked when I looked up the other writers and what credits they had, because this does not show any talent in writing whatsoever. Zero. I mean, when you have a $200 million movie and it's sci-fi, and you can literally you have money's no object, you can literally do anything you want. Anything. Sky is the limit, man. As if your imagination can think of it at that level of budget, you can do anything. Anything. And this is what we got. I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. I'm not going to really go into spoilers because there is none. This movie is completely... Well, there is one spoiler that I'm not going to get into. But that's it. Literally, there's one story plot beat that I didn't see coming. One. The production design is god-awful. The costumes are awful. Everything, I don't know how you get everything wrong in a movie. Everything. In a sci-fi movie, you got everything wrong. So we start out in this little teeny village town because the movie is basically Seven Samurai, which is the Magnificent Seven. So this movie is taken from... Magnificent Seven was taken from Seven Samurai, and this is taken from both of those combined. And it's not even well done. If I'm going to watch Magnificent Seven, I'm going to watch Magnificent Seven. I'm not going to see this piece of shit. So literally it starts out in this village town. Of course it does, because the village town has to be subjugated by the bad guys, or else you can't have the village rise up to fight them. And so we start out with Sofia Boutella's character, Cora, and I like her. I don't know if she was right for this role, but I like her. I liked her in Star Trek. I liked her in The Mummy. I like her in general. But I don't know if she's really an action star. But anyway, so regardless of that, and we also have Charlie Hunnam in here from Sons of Anarchy. Michael Heseen, who's Hostman from Game of Thrones. What was his name? Skrine, Ed Skrine or something like that. From he just played a Nazi officer in The Light That We Cannot See. and he was also in the second Maleficent movie. And he basically plays the same role over again. And not even, that's the point I'm making. You could have any costume you want. You can have any aliens you want. And you can have any world that you want. Right? So we start out with her literally with a horse and a plow. And so she's hiding on this world because she's wanted, but we don't know why. And we got... What? We're in a sci-fi universe with a horse and a plow on another planet? What are we doing here? What are we doing? As soon as I'm starting out, I'm like, what the hell? And then we're seeing the other houses, and they're all like made of wood, and they have barns, and I'm like, what are we doing? You had anything you could possibly do. This is what your imagination came up with? Where I can just walk down the street in Atlanta and see exactly what you have on this other planet? Well, not the plow. Nobody uses those anymore. So we're actually regressing in time. So you have to take a spaceship to go to this place, but yet it has a plow and a horse. Fuck. So right off the first scene, I'm already disappointed. Because I see sci-fi because I want to see somebody's imagination go like this. I want to see what they come up with when they can do anything that they want. Instead, we get this. Then the ships come in, right? These are the bad guys. And Ed Skrein comes out, and he's literally dressed like a Nazi. Like a Nazi. Exactly like a Nazi. I mean, if I put pictures side by side from what he did with the Light That We Cannot See and this movie, you couldn't tell the difference. What? Oh my God. So bad. So extremely bad. So now we're into this movie at least 15, 20 minutes now. And of course the bad guys are demanding, grain from them. They can't give it. And then we find out that her character is a warrior. And, she helps one of the girls and it puts her into a bad position. And they're literally leave a garrison behind us. So we'll be back in 10 weeks. So Ed Skrein's character is like, I'll come back in 10 weeks when all my food is ready. And he's like, well, that's going to leave us nothing. He's like, well, that's your problem. And so they leave, but they don't leave a ship behind. They don't leave any supplies behind. They literally leave like 4 guys. That's it. Like a garrison of 4 people. I mean, it would be very easy for the town to rise up and kill them. So, I mean, the brains behind any of that is insane. At least if you had somebody with a ship in orbit, if those guys were messed with, they could orbitally attack, and say, hey, look, you guys like your houses? Well, I'm going to take a couple of them out. So, yeah, it's so stupid, man. So stupid. So then from there, of course, we have to go collect the other guys because it's exactly like Magnificent Seven. So they have to go collect all these other guys. And literally, when they go collect these guys, like Jenna Malone plays this spider creature, and if you're familiar with Sucker Punch, she was in Sucker Punch. She was also in the Hatfields and McCoys also. So they're literally watching Bay Duna, who was from I want to say Sixth Sense, but that's it, Sense8, which is another weird show. But they're literally, she's getting attacked and attacking them, and they're just sitting there. And there's a child that she's trying to save, and they just stand there and watch. Wow. I wonder if she's going to get out of this one. What? Why aren't they helping her? They were all supposed to be warriors. They were all supposed to be brought to help fight, the bad guys. But meanwhile, they can't even help the poor, Asian chick trying to save this child. What is going on? Oh my God, this is so bad. So bad. So in the bar, at least we get a few aliens. I'm like, oh, thank God we got to see a few aliens. There's not even any aliens on their crew that she's compiling. They all look human. And some of them, I mean, Charlie Hunnam's got, a Scottish accent or whatever, Irish accent or whatever he's trying to do. And Anthony Hopkins is playing the voice of the robot, which that's probably my favorite scene is with her and the robot talking. But we don't even keep the mystery of what Cora's background is. He immediately tells us everything, and it's kind of a letdown. It was interesting that they used the heated, I guess they're heated because they have steam coming out of them, with the heated blades, because I actually created those years and years ago with my my heated katana. So I created that years ago. So it's I think my sword actually looks better. But anyway, so yeah, so it's interesting that they did that. But nobody's going to remember this movie anyway. And this is supposed to be part 2. Nobody's going to watch part 2. This is so bad. So we get a little bit of a twist at the very end, and we get, kind of a battle take place. And by that point in time, nobody cares. And I was checked out. If I wasn't reviewing this movie, I probably would have stopped it halfway because it was so boring. So boring, so bad, no imagination. It's a movie that we've already seen several times before. The remake of Magnificent Seven was far better than this. With the recruitment of the characters and stuff like that, are far superior. That's why these guys that can write and have written films that have done well, I can't imagine them writing this because it's so bad, and the directing is so bad, and he goes into this slow motion over and over and over again. I mean, it's just, I'm like, just stop it already. If you do slow motion like 3 times or whatever else in a film, okay. But this I think he hit like 20, because then he'd slow-mo and then it'd go back into regular thing for a second, and then he'd go back into slow-mo. So she'd be like, wah, wah. I mean, she might as well do the Cabbage Patch. So bad. This movie is so awful. If anybody tells me that this movie was good, I really want to know why. I really want to know why. Because they had every opportunity in the world, right? So he had every opportunity in the world to make this a franchise. He had all the money behind it. He had Netflix pushing it. He could have had action figures. He could have had this. Nobody's going to touch this for licensing. Nobody. Because this movie is going to be forgotten by next year. Literally 2 weeks from now. And Ray Fisher is in it. He gets a small part. Charlie Hunnam's character is technically a small part. So, I don't know. Absolutely, I'm looking for something good to say about this movie, and I can't come up with anything. Aside from the cast, that are really is. I mean, Sophia's really trying. I think she was trying to create something here, but the costumes could have been better. Everything could have been better. The sets could have been better. Everything could have been better, and it's just a letdown from start to finish. It's just a complete letdown. And I will, I don't know if anybody, if actually I get so many kind of views on this, I might review the second version when it comes out 10 years from now. But I definitely will not be sitting through the Snyder cut of this movie. He doesn't understand that when he releases something, everybody can say that the Justice League was better all you want. You can ejaculate all over that thing. I am not buying into that. Sure, it was a little better, but the movie was still bad. I'll be doing a whole DCU ranking. I just watched Sean Chandler's, and I agreed with nothing. I agreed with absolutely nothing he said. So I'll be doing my own as well. All right, well, that's all I got for Rebel Moon, man. I probably talked about this more than I should have because this is the biggest piece of shit in the world. And if Zack Snyder actually gets to make the second part, Netflix is stupider than I thought. Because if they're dumping another $200 million into the second part of this, they have got to be off the rocker. They have got to be off their rocker. Now, if the $200 million was both of the movies combined, okay, and all they got to do is edit the second one. Well, then it doesn't pay not to put it out. But yeah, if they have to dump another $200 million into another movie, no. All right. Well, again, happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for watching. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. I'm trying to help me grow the channel out a little bit here. And yeah, I'm going to try to go see Iron Claw around Christmas. And yeah, check out some other videos that are popping up here. I'm also put a couple of like we're the card game I'm working on with Mark Spears right now. Oh, you can also get my comic if you're interested on that on Amazon or on DestinyAurora.net. And if you get it from DestinyAurora.net, I can sign it for you. And they're only $20, so they're not expensive. And they're 150 pages. It's a whole thing from start to finish. It's a whole story, so you don't have to worry about not closure. And but anyway, we're working on a card game right now called Riftstorm, and it's classic monsters. And then I'm finishing up the Oz expansion. So it's I'll put a couple of the copy of the cards up. The graphic design of the borders are not done yet. I should have those later this week. All right. So thanks a lot, guys, and make sure you have fun with your family during the holidays. All right, and I hope you guys get some good presents. All right. Check out some other videos as well. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye-bye.